early on a Saturday in what is reading week for us, so we doubly shouldn't be here. I'm just going to check if anybody's still outside. We're good. So hopefully everybody has got a copy of the programme. You found the right room. You got there before we got all our signs up. Organisation, we think we're ready, but it's happening now. It's too late to change anything. So I'm just going to give you a quick whiz through of why we're doing the event, and then hand over to keynotes to actually tell you something really useful. Before we start, obviously there are the health and safety announcements. There are fire exits here, and that's it. And then I think you assemble on the college green, the building on fire. And if you need assistance leaving the building, please let me know. Okay, so this is also the very last day of Open Access Week 2016, which has been running all over the world, sort of trying to promote the idea and visibility of open access. But this will probably, and the theme for that is open in action. So I think we're doing well at sort of fitting with the theme, but I'm going to try and make this the last time that I actually mention open access in this talk. I'll probably fail on the next slide now that I've said that. But this event is not about open access. It's about everything else except open access that falls under the banner of open. And I'll try in 2 or 3 minutes explain why I think that's important. So why did there have to be an open access movement in the first place? And sort of is the interesting question. I think it's actually winning its battle now. But why did it happen? Well, it's basically I think that things didn't really move fast enough. So what you had was that publishing was originally on paper, and so it had to be done by, it's quite expensive, it had to be done by companies. When the digital revolution came and everything was now free to produce, there was no longer that cost associated with it. But of course, as a company, your obligation is not to the wider community, it's to your shareholders. And so there was a huge inertia within the academic publishing world that it's not in their interests to make things cheap. They want to protect their revenue, they want to keep things going. And so it's actually been a very uphill battle to sort of wrest control, and we still haven't really done it, of publications and reducing some of those costs from these people who have a different priority. And that's been going on, and this event is not about that. But similar patterns are occurring in lots of other things that we're doing, and that was a result of the change, just the invention of the internet, which was like already 20 years ago now, and things like the invention of social media, the reliance of data in every sort of walk of life are also going to affect academics, affect what our jobs are. Things like the increasing commercialization of universities are going to affect what it means to be a researcher. And in all of those, you have to remember that your interests are not always aligned with your employer, people trying to make money out of the higher education industry. And the idea of this event is that openness in some shape or form is a subversion of that, and it's a solution to that problem where if people are trying to commercialise your work, if you're able to give away some aspects of that, you sort of change that, that dialogue. And if you're talking directly to the people who are interested in your research, you're also changing that dialogue. So openness in the sense of being a spokesperson for your own research, talking directly to the public. And all of our speakers sort of show you this in action in some shape or form. Because the other example that sort of is worth having in mind when you're thinking about like how can you subvert this dialogue is the world of free and open source software, where also starting 20 years ago, people in the very commercial world of software decided and realized that the digital, the world that we live in, allows you to give away information at very marginal cost, and it allows you to collaborate with people who share your interests across the world. So the thing about Linux and all of the free software is partly that it's given away free, but far more importantly, that it's done by a community of people who all share the belief that that was an important thing to do. And building their community was sort of a key part of their success. So that's kind of all I want to say. I want to hand over to people who are actually doing these things to tell you a bit more. A few other little bits about the day. So hopefully you've all made yourself a badge. This is going to be hands-on, open in action. So if on your badge we know who you are, maybe how to get in contact with you. And so I've tried to summarise that my research is probably not very clear. My research is in the psychology of happy babies. If you want to put something on your badge that sums up your research, that will be handy, because we want you to talk to each other, and it's a good way to sort of break the ice. We also want you to talk to the wider world on Twitter, and there are glorious prizes. The tweet with the most retweets and the most likes. You get a lovely winter warming owl. You put them in the microwave, they heat you up and they keep you warm at night. So just keep that in mind all the way through. The afternoon is hands-on, it's a hackathon. I'm not going to tell you anything about that now, I'll tell you about that at the end of the morning session. One useful other bit of information, if you haven't got the program is online at this document. That is a collaboratively edited document, so you can all change it, but if you change it, you'll delete it for everyone, so be careful what you're changing on it. And I think, that's all I have to say. So I'm going to now hand over to Joe.